Dear Presidents and Head of Delegations, dear colleagues, I want to express my deep gratitude to you for having chosen to put your trust in me. It's a great honor, and I'm very aware that it's a great responsibility that is now on my shoulders. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you who provided their vote and their support. I would like to thank right at the beginning of this speech my predecessor, President Françoise Henriot, for the past 3 years, where I had the chance to be her first vice president and to learn many things from her. And I would also like to thank my wife. She's here today. Who spontaneously gave me her support when I announced that I will be a candidate on the presidency of UIHJ and probably not so much at home for the next 3 years. Thank you. Here we are now at the end of our Congress and at the beginning of a new 3-year cycle. During this Congress, we demonstrated successfully that the judicial officer is the professional who is an essential element of good governance. During this Congress, we learned that huge challenges are waiting for us while digitalization is conquering the world. We have seen during the activities report that has been presented to us that the UIHJ is a very active to defend our profession on every level. Nevertheless, we must continue to be present everywhere and to fight for our professional future. The International Union of Judicial Officers, or UIHJ, is more than an international organization. It's a family. You, like union, we can only survive as a professional group if we stay united. Compared to other professional groups in the legal field, notaries, judges, and especially lawyers, we are only a very small group. But nevertheless, UIHJ is actually, in terms of member countries, one of the biggest associations of legal professionals in the world. To keep this position, we have to stay united. This was also the reason why, 2 years ago, a European Union of Judicial Officers has been created inside of the UIHJ. We must speak with one voice. The challenges that we are actually facing, and I'm speaking about those that already appeared or will appear in a very soon future, like electronic service of documents, blockchains, predictive justice based on algorithms, and enforcement proceedings on digital assets, will deeply change our professional life, or even more, will become a danger for it. If UIHJ would like to continue to be as successful as it has been in the past, we have only one option: to stay united and to fight together for this same aims. I'm very confident that at the end we will keep our place inside of the judicial system and stay an indispensable actor of justice who guarantees the rights of each of the litigants. I, like international. Compared to other international or continental organizations, the big advantage of the UIHJ is the huge number of countries where members are coming from. Today, we welcomed another 5 members inside of our big family. That brings us to a total of 93 member associations from 90 countries. Through this respectful number of members, we are actually present on 4 continents. And I promise to you that I will try to get in touch with our colleagues from the last continent that we are actually missing to become a real worldwide represented organization. On the European continent, and especially inside of the European Union, the role of the European Union of Judicial Officers will be increased. It will become the unique representative of our profession on a European level and work together with the European institutions. Through the UIHJ, the European Union of Judicial Officers will be able to deliver to the European Commission not only relevant data and statistics, but some clear statements and positions on topics that concerns directly our profession and, the most important, defend them. Furthermore, the UIHJ will try to continue to bring its expertise in working groups to the ELI, the European Law Institute, which has been established to initiate, conduct and facilitate research, make recommendations and provide practical guidance in the field of European legal development. Beyond the European Union, on a European continental level, the very successful collaboration with the CEPEJ will be followed on and will attend as an observer member twice a year the plenary meetings. Despite the fact that there are actually 38 members in our organization that are emerging from the European continent, we still have some white spots on the European map. We will try within the next year to reduce this list as much as we can. On the African continent, we have to increase our actions. The digitalization of justice is a worldwide phenomenon that will reach the African continent too. Electronic case management will be one of the first challenges where UIHJ should give its support. The knowledge that has been acquired in that field on other continents should be, with the help of UIHJ, transferred on the best practices experience. The next Africa-Europe meetings of judicial officers that will be organized again in 2019 will constitute an excellent opportunity to exchange again best practices and to draw up together a master plan for the future. Concerning the relations between the UIHJ and the African institutions, like the OHADA and the West African Economic and Monetary Union, EMOA, we are on the right way. The signing of the cooperation agreement with the training body of OHADA, the Higher Regional School of Magistracy, the ERSUMA, is another step of confession of the UIHJ to the African continent and the profession of judicial officer there. We are still convinced that one of the most important aims is to achieve in Africa a harmonized status of judicial officers that will help to create their legal area allowing free movement of legal acts and judgments, or at least smooth and simplified cross-border enforcement proceedings. While the French-speaking part of Africa, the Maghreb region, and the western and central western part of this continent is very well represented in the UIHJ, there is still some work to be done on other parts. The countries of the eastern, central eastern, and southern part of the African continent that are not yet a member of the UIHJ should be contacted on that issue, and I count on my African colleagues' help, which are present here today, to help me in this challenge. The more we are, the more we can achieve for a better future of our profession in Africa. Concerning the American continent, we should put in the focus on the southern part. While the United States and Canada are present inside of UIHJ already for a very long time, many of our efforts to establish continuous relations to different countries of the southern part of the American continent have unfortunately failed or are rather difficult to hold. We will put all our efforts together with the contacts that we have reached to establish and with the countries of that region that are already member of UIHJ to expand our presence there and to acquire new member countries. Contacts to the Mercosur, which is the South American trade bloc and which purpose is to promote free trade and the fluid movement of goods, people and currency in its member countries, might be very useful to reach this aim. And, of course, the Asian continent. The continent where more than 50% of the world population lives, and where UIHJ is now only present in 5 countries. We are convinced that with the help of our Asian members, we will soon convince professional organizations from this continent to join our big family. We hope that this Congress, that is organized for the first time in the 66-year-old history of the UIHJ on the Asian continent, will help us to increase our presence here. I would like to thank especially our colleagues and friends in the Legal Execution Department of the Kingdom of Thailand, who have invited delegation from Southeast Asian region, the so-called ASEAN region, to join us in this Congress. We hope that all of them enjoyed their participation, got interested on the actions of UIHJ, and will join us in a very near future to become a member of our worldwide family. Furthermore, the Central Asian countries should not get less attention from our side, and their involvement in our continuous work would be welcome. The relations of the UIHJ to international organizations and institutions like the World Bank, UNCITRAL, the International Monetary Fund, and, of course, the Hague Conference on Private International Law are the most prestigious one we have and reflects the international and worldwide recognition that the UIHJ achieved. The maintaining and intensifying of these relations will stay an absolute priority in the general politics of the UIHJ. Et je vais continuer en français. H comme huissier. Huissier de justice, cette profession qui nous est si chère et qui se traduit dans de nombreux synonymes à travers les différents pays membres. Gerichtsvollzieher, Gerechtsdeurwaarder, Dierwächter, Uffiziale Giudiziario, Kronenvoogd, Sheriff Officer, High Court Enforcement Officer, Messenger at Arms, Executor, Soudevni Ispolitel, Komoren, etc., etc. Cette profession est connue sous de nombreux noms, mais nous réunit tous à travers l'activité principale qui est l'exécution des décisions de justice. L'huissier de justice constitue, avec le magistrat et l'avocat, incontestablement un des trois piliers fondamentaux de toute procédure judiciaire. L'huissier de justice, par son indépendance, est un garant pour la sécurité juridique. Cette indépendance se traduit cependant par une double exigence, celle d'une formation de haute qualité et celle d'une diversité d'activités. Une formation de haut niveau de l'huissier de justice a toujours été et restera toujours une des exigences indiscutables réclamées par l'Union internationale. Une formation de haut niveau est la clé pour garantir la pérennité de notre profession. Cette formation de haut niveau ne se traduit pas uniquement par une formation de base solide et diversifiée, mais également par une formation continue répondant aux attentes envers notre profession, attentes qui ne cessent que de croître. Il est dès lors indispensable de poursuivre la promotion du modèle de formation qui a été établi et qui s'est avéré être très efficace, c'est-à-dire une formation continue organisée avec divers acteurs, les chambres nationales, l'Union internationale et les universités. Ce type de formation a l'avantage de pouvoir être individualisé selon les besoins rencontrés sur place et évidemment d'être orienté vers la pratique quotidienne. C'est ainsi que plusieurs éditions de ces formations permanentes ont déjà vu le jour et d'autres suivront très prochainement. Dans ce contexte se pose évidemment la question de savoir s'il ne serait pas utile de réunir le savoir-faire des différentes écoles de procédure ou centres de formation établis au sein des chambres nationales et de créer, sous l'égide de l'Union internationale, une vraie plateforme de formation. Cette plateforme aurait non seulement le mérite de promouvoir l'échange des expériences acquises en matière de formation, mais également de mettre à disposition des pays intéressés un choix beaucoup plus vaste de modules ainsi que des experts pouvant intervenir dans le cadre de ceux-ci. Il s'agit là certes d'un projet ambitieux qui fera sans aucun doute encore parler de lui. À côté de la formation, c'est aussi la diversité de nos activités qui est un garant de notre indépendance. Les lignes directrices de la CPEJ sont très claires à cet égard. Une multitude d'activités accessoires peut être exercée par l'huissier de justice. Et je vais encore plus loin. Ces activités ne peuvent non seulement être exercées par l'huissier de justice, mais il en est l'acteur idéal, l'acteur privilégié. Qui d'autre que l'huissier de justice pourrait apporter au constat sa force probante par la plus-value d'être considéré comme un acte authentique? Il en est du même au niveau du recouvrement amiable de créances. Le statut de l'huissier de justice en tant qu'officier ministériel, ainsi que son obligation de veiller au respect des droits de toutes les parties, apporte les garanties supplémentaires aux justiciables. Il est évident que l'huissier de justice ne pourra prétendre à l'exercice d'activités supplémentaires que s'il dispose de cette formation de haut niveau. L'exercice d'activités supplémentaires est non seulement étroitement lié à la formation, mais ils sont indissociables. Dans ce même contexte, il est évidemment à noter que le rôle du Conseil scientifique de l'Union internationale est capital. Par l'expérience des membres éminents qui le composent et par son travail, il constitue sans le moindre doute la vitrine scientifique par excellence de notre association. Le Code mondial de l'exécution qui a été présenté lors du congrès de Madrid il y a 3 ans, ainsi que le guide des bonnes pratiques professionnelles qui vient d'être présenté lors de ce congrès, sont les fruits d'un travail scientifique qui constitue pour notre profession un atout majeur et qui nous permet de nous positionner indiscutablement au niveau des institutions internationales. J comme justice. Mesdames et messieurs les présidents et chefs de délégation, chers collègues, mesdames et messieurs, le monde change et est en constante évolution. Il en est de même en ce qui concerne la justice. Nous l'avons entendu tout au long de ce congrès. De nouvelles technologies apparaissent et seront déjà demain considérées comme étant indispensables pour le bon fonctionnement de la justice. Cette évolution qui, en l'observant de près, a plutôt tendance à muter vers une révolution, ne peut pas nous laisser indifférents. Nous devons réagir de façon proactive afin de garder, voire de renforcer notre position au sein de la justice et d'assurer ainsi la pérennité de notre profession. Il s'agira non seulement de s'adapter aux besoins qui s'imposeront, mais surtout de participer activement à la création des instruments dont nous nous servirons demain. La plateforme de communication e-Codex, qui nous a été présentée lors d'un des ateliers de ce congrès, constitue sans aucun doute un des outils performants que nous devons favoriser pour nous positionner. Mais, et surtout, c'est notre aspect humain qui nous permet de nous positionner dans une justice qui se digitalise à la vitesse de la lumière. Nul ordinateur, nulle intelligence artificielle n'est en mesure d'individualiser une procédure d'exécution en tenant compte de l'aspect humain. Il s'ajoute aux autres valeurs que notre profession représente. UIHJ. Notre union, notre force. Merci pour votre soutien et merci pour votre attention.